Hi there, and welcome. Welcome to my project kitchen. Yes, it's a mess because I do things. I'm just saying. What I want to do is share with you today is how I process a fleece, normal garbage bag style packaging, to an actual swatch. The most economical way that I've been able to find, and show you some things that I'm using to make it more manageable for me to. Cause I look at this and I think that's too much, and actually, reality, this is already halfway gone. So I'm doing that 100 grams at a time. It makes it manageable for me, and maybe that's you too. Maybe a big huge fleece is just, oh my goodness, I can't do that much. I'm going to show you how I'm doing it in a way that's one, economical. I'm really kind of being very frugal here, and number two, it's sustainable for me to be able to do a little bit at a time, because that helps for me. And it also makes it to where I can bring it inside, where the AC is. I'm just saying, AC does matter, right? Especially nowadays. It's hot. I'm getting ready for Tour de Fleece. This is one of the areas that I'm going to be doing, is this alpaca. By the way, I'm doing alpaca, so the lanolin doesn't count. I'll put some notes about how to do straight up wool for any other breeds, because the temperatures matter and how you scour it matters. But how you scour it actually is the same with alpaca. You just don't have to worry about the temperatures as much, because I'm not breaking down lanolin. But I'll tell you what, because this is what I'm doing, I think personally, this is just me, starting with an alpaca, I think is easier. Y'all may come after me in the comments if you want to on that one, but I think starting with an alpaca is easier because there's no lanolin. It's slicker. It's hard. I think it's a tad bit harder to spin, but not that much. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how I'm doing this and show you my little steps. I'm doing 100 grams at a time. I'm just going to show you my process, and hopefully it'll make sense to you. Or if nothing else, maybe it'll give you some ideas to use what you've already got to do the things and make it a little bit more effective for you to be inside a little bit at a time instead of doing a whole fleece at once. I don't know if anybody needs that, but I did, so there's that. So I'm sharing. All right, let's see. Let me move you around and see what it takes. Okay, first of all is I'm taking my alpaca. It's just out of the garbage bag, just like I got it, just like it came right off the animal itself. And I just have a food scale over here. Okay, I'm using aluminum pans, normal half pan for chafing dishes, and I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to tare it, which means take it back to zero with the weight that's on it. It's already tared because I just did that not long ago. But anyway, it needs to be zero at this point. And because I know I'm going to do 100 grams at a time, but I also know that I'm adding 10 to 15 grams of Jacob. In fact, I've already got it measured out over here. Can't tell yeah. Anyway, so I've got separations off, so that way as I do the blending board, because that's how I'm doing this. Now, granted, y'all that are way past this, I mean, if I give you some tips, that's great. But what I'm talking about, I'm really talking to people that have never done this before. So anyway, I just literally just put it in there until I hit 85 grams. Go ahead and push it down so it stays down in there, and then go from there. And it doesn't take, I really do want a pretty good accuracy to that. Okay, 85 grams. Okay, so and then you just go ahead and compact that down a little bit. And just do as much of that as you want to, however many batches that you want, okay? I've done a bunch of this, and so I wanted to show you that though. So this is actually the third, like I said, I've already done a lot of this, but I'm trying to share with you guys how I processed. Hang on. All right. So this was actually the third set of 100 gram alpaca. And now I'm going to show you what I'm using to wash it, because this had already been weighed and whatnot, all right? So come with me over to my sink and I'll show you how I ended up washing things and spinning it. And then I'll show you my very not elaborate setup for drying it. Okay? All right. Okay, this is really simple. So for alpaca, all you need is warm water. Not hot, just warm. Okay? Now what I'm doing is I got myself just a tub, and it's a small tub. This is just perfect for 100 grams. You get any bigger than that, you might want to go more, but this works great for 100 grams. And it's just the drain sieve with the tub. Okay, and by the way, because of the fact that I was thinking about other aspects of things, this is the one that collapses. The whole thing collapses down to, because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to store this, and then I'm going to be in trouble. So there we go. Look, it's much smaller. Anyway, don't know if that matters, but it works for me. This way I can put it on a shelf, and it's really not a big deal. So it's the silicone thing, so it collapses down. And what I'm going to do, and this is just at my sink with a drying rack over the top. And I know a lot of people have, I'm trying to make sure you're still in frame. They use like Scour Power, Unicorn Scour, you know, all that stuff. I'm just using Dawn because I'm not trying to break up lanolin for one thing, but it works great. So I have already been through. You saw I showed you the swatch. I'm very satisfied with how that turned out. I will absolutely wear that yarn. So I'm going to just put that in here. Now you can put in the water and start pushing in, or you can put it in the other way around. Doesn't make any difference. You're still going to end up pushing it down. And then I'm going to put that in there. Now my water isn't as warm as I'd like it to be. It'll probably get there. But until there it comes. It's going to be plenty enough warm for the end result that I can add a little bit of water. Now granted, you can do the water and then add the soap and then put the fleece in. I've done it both ways. It didn't seem to matter that much. So you do you. See what I mean? The whole point is you got to get that air out. And I say that because of having recently went through some classes where we were learning to dye, and I realized how big a deal that air in the fleece makes it. Now I've just got one of these little pumpy action things, so that's how I'm adding. You can just do a couple of drops of soap. It doesn't take much soap, y'all. So it's kind of full, getting full, but it's warm water now. It's just warm water. Not as in hot. It's warm. It's like, I wouldn't call it baby bath warm, but it's comfortable warm. My hands are, it's warmer than the atmosphere. It's warmer than my body temperature. So, shall I get a measurement for you just for the sake of doing it? Okay. Alright, well, if it works. I'm not entirely sure it's working right now. There we go. It's 97 degrees. It could be warmer and be just fine. Alright. What I'm doing is just, what you don't want, when you get into the higher temperatures, you definitely don't want to be doing a whole lot of scrunging around, because you'll felt that stuff. Especially with wool, you'll felt it. You'll felt it quick. But look how grungy that already is. So I'm just kind of making sure that there's no air, that everything's good and soaked, letting it go into it, and don't fuss with it too much. But I mean, honestly, I was really concerned when I first did this that I was going to felt it. I didn't felt it, but I also didn't mess with it to a point of it being a pretty big chance of it either. I have spun my results. Now granted, the first time I did this, I wish I would have washed it twice, and so I'm going to show you. I'm going to wash it twice because the other two that I've already done, it's on the drying rack. I did wash those twice because when I washed my swatch that I just showed you, there was still actually more sand and dirt come out of it than I was happy with. So now I'm going to wash it a little bit better than I had previously done. You know, you figure things out and then you fix them, right? Anyway, so you can see how gooky that is already. And I'm going to let that set for 10-15 minutes at least. And just let it set. You don't let this stuff set overnight, and don't let it set for hours. 10 or 15 minutes is all it takes. Otherwise, you are going to end up with some other issues because you are also in the bacteria zone. I'm not saying that that's affecting things. I'm saying you are in the bacteria zone. So let it set 10-15 minutes and then come back to it, and I'll show you what I do when I do that, okay? All right, so it's been a few minutes, and I'm looking at the, yeah, you should be able to see that, the amount of dirt that's in that. And after having saw what I got out of my swatch, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pull this to the side. I'm going to let it sieve out, but tilting that enough, kind of try to, you don't want to wring your fiber. Do not wring your fiber. Anyway, I'm going to, like I said, I'm over this drain mat, so it's kind of convenient. And I'm just going to go ahead and, see, alpacas sand bathe. So there's lots of sand in alpaca fleece. So that was already warm, so it ought to start out a little easier this time. And we're going to go ahead and let it get a little bit warmer. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more soap. Again, after having done the full swatch and everything and washed it and everything, I know that I need to get it out a little bit cleaner in the beginning. And it might be easier to spin, may not be. It'll definitely make for a cleaner swatch, cleaner yarn. But I'm going to go ahead and get that worked in a little bit. Yeah, it's still pulling some, not nearly like it was. There's not a lot of soap in that, y'all. Not a lot at all. You just saw what I did. And let's get real, Dawn is really just a degreaser. Okay, I'm going to let that go ahead and soak for another 10 minutes. And we'll go from there, and I'll rinse it out and process on. All right, we're back again. And you can see how much, where we're at with the dirt level. So I'm going to pull that to the side again and let it run out, not running through the fleece, because I kind of think that makes sense, right? Don't push the dirt back through the fleece. I don't know, concept. And when you're doing things on this, at this sizes, you can actually do that. Okay, see? I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. Still pretty dingy. Alright, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to rinse it. Same way as I just washed it, minus the soap. Looks like a hairball. Feels better than a hairball, but looks like a hairball. So, and I thought this was going to be a problem last time, by the way. Literally, I'm using my sprayer to rinse it out. Just kind of picking out some of the BM. Because why not? What do we think? I don't know, guys. I mean, I could run some more water through it, but I'm going to just continue to rinse it at this juncture, okay? And see what we get. Alright, let's just, because it is what it, this device, I literally just do that. You can see how dirty it still is. Let's see, you know, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to do a little experiment together. I can put that to the side, and I'm going to just simply rinse. Now this is what I did the last time, and it was fine anyway. And see if I can kind of just drive some of that out. I'm not seeing it being dirty water coming off of this, but I'm not entirely sure I would. Now my hot water heater is not set to scalding hot. Maybe 104. I guess I could measure that, but my intention is really just to rinse. I just want what little soap we used out of it. And it to kind of run clean. Alright, for the sake of experiment, shall we not? I mean, shall we do that? I'm just going to go ahead and capture that water again and see where we're at. I did not do this in my prior processes, but I figure, why not, right? I don't want it to get too hot. And it was starting to get a lot warmer than I think would have been good. So one of the notes that I took when I was preparing researching this video is to not let your water temperature change too drastically on your fleece, because that will also cause more felting. And that was getting pretty warm. It no longer is. That's one of the nice things about being in your kitchen, is you can control that so much easier. You know, I mean, look at the water. I know you can see to some degree. I'll try to zoom in on it. Well, hang on. There we go. You can see pretty much what I see right now. I would say that's pretty dang good. I mean, I've still got more BM than I have anything else. All right. So that was an experiment. Now I'm going to proof of concept. Alright. Now without having to wear this, hopefully. Now granted, there's still a little bit more left. I mean, you can rinse this stuff until the cows come home, I suppose. I'm just going to do one more quick. I think it works well, and I'm not seeing felting. Alright. I'd say that's good. Alright, now I'm going to just pull that back. You don't want to twist. I'm just wringing a little. Okay. Now, here's my next step. Are you ready? Okay, hang on. I have to reposition you. Alright. Solid spinner. Yep. Solid spinner. Now, a lot of people that do a lot of fleeces have those electric spinners. Basically, it's just a mini dryer, well, it's just a spin cycle. But I don't have one of those. Like I said, I'm being very frugal here. So I'm just going to spread that out and get after it. That's all it is. Now you could use the brake if you wanted to. I think this is the brake. Yeah. But I actually usually just grab the thing on the bottom. All right, now you're not done. It's not that easy. There's a lot of difference between what I just put in there. Look at that. Now some people that would be more picky about this would go ahead and continue rinsing until you have no sign of dirt. You can. You know the process. Still seeing it's putting off some good moisture. Okay. One more time. Yeah, it's getting there. Now, like I said, when the fleeces that come out of those electric spinners, they're almost dry. They're almost dry. Okay, something's really out of balance. You caught it. All right. Let's try that again. It's kind of like when your wash machine goes tilt, 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 tilt. Yep. Pretty much the same thing. Now, if you're a person that has like mobility issues and don't have the arms and the hands to do this, go get you an electric spinner. They work great. I'm just not gonna pay for that quite yet. We do use them in our dyeing courses when we do the guild dyeing, because one of the ladies that does a lot of fleeces, she has it, so we use it. There's that. There we go. Okay. Alright, so I'm just let that sit here and dry my sink, and now I'm going to take you over to my next hack for drying the fleece inside in the AC. Now, to go put it like out on the sun and on a nice table and stuff, that would be beautiful too. I'm not doing that. Okay, so I'm going to take you over to my drying rack. Okay, we're over here in a kind of a workout room area that's probably got more dust on it than it has workout. I just brought my bowl over here, and all this is a sweater drying thing, and it hooks literally just to the end of a rod, which happens to be my pull-up bar over here. It wouldn't matter where you put it, whether it's a shower curtain rod, anything. It's so light it doesn't matter. But you can tell that. So I've got two other ones that I already processed that are sitting up here, and all I'm going to do is take this, put it in here, and spread it out real good. That's all I'm doing, is I want to spread that out as best as I can so it can get airflow, because this way you've got airflow top and bottom. And there's nothing says you got to get it perfect, because you can always come back out and come back after a while and readjust more when it's wanting to let go a little bit more. When it's wet, it's kind of sticky a little bit. Not a lot, but kind of. It is a little easier after a bit. That might be having to do with me using a sprayer. I don't know. But it's also probably pretty tangled in general because it was in that pan for a while. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to let that dry. A couple days probably, because I doubt I'll get back to it before then. But most likely I'll adjust it as I walk by this area and just kind of pull at it some more, because these are fine. These are ready to roll, ready to card. Okay, so that's how I do it. This is literally how it works, and they're 100 grams at a time. That's I'm reiterating that 100 gram thing because it's manageable. and mentally it's manageable. I don't have to think about this whole pile I gotta get through. 100 grams. All right, so let's go back over and I'll show you how I process it from there. All right, we are at my little fiber table over here, and I have a blending board set up. I have my cards. Okay, and that's how I've been processing these. Okay, and so I've carded, and these are the Rolags that I've already done. These are exactly what went into that swatch that I showed you. Swatch that I spun, hand spun from Rolags. This is just a pile of Rolags. This is, by the way, my prepping for Tour de Fleece. I will be doing a bunch of alpaca, among a bunch of other things, by the way. So all I do usually with this, and I'll see if I'm catching it on camera, hopefully. And I'm not, y'all, I am not a carding efficient person. I'm actually quite bad at it. But here, I don't think you're on camera. So I'm working on getting better at it. So all I'm doing is I just take a handful and hitting at the end. Take your top one and start combing it off, or start carding, brushing it, combing. What's the action that you would use? The whole point is to get as much of those, to get your fibers going in the right direction. Now, I know that there's better ways to transfer that stuff. I get that. I'm not that good at this yet. So please do not take this as a tutorial on carding. It is so not. I'm not very good at it. I say that because there's people in my guild that are actually really quite good. And this is also where a lot of your BM and stuff has an opportunity to come out. But what I'm looking for right now is that there's not a bunch of slubs. You know, those little, the chunky pieces, the balled up stuff. Like there would be a slub right there. That I'm opening that up and I'm pulling it out. Okay, so all I'm going to do, I'm seeing that it doesn't take a lot to do alpaca. By the way, I think it's actually one of the easiest fibers to work with. But when you get a chance to, pull out that BM, because you're going to want it out of there before you get a hold of it when you're spinning. So anyway, there's better ways to do this. I'm aware. So I'm going to go ahead and plop that onto here. One more time. I'm seeing a lot of BM still in it. One more time. There. I think I shredded the rest of that off. Now I know that there's people are really much better at the silly me. I don't need to Rolag this. What was I thinking? Goodness gracious, I'm making my life harder. Comb that out one more time because I'm not trying to Rolag this. We did a bunch of Jacob yesterday when we were doing our sheep to shawl team, and we did a lot of Rolags, so that's the first thing I was thinking I needed to do. But what I'm going to do here is I have my blending board, and I literally just get that on there, and then I just keep doing that until it's full, and then I'll Rolag that, and that's what these turn out like. And that's how I'm spinning it. You could have rolled like that, but my goodness, it would. I do think this is a better option than pulling it off of those as Rolags. I could be wrong about that, but I've had better luck there. Anyway, so you kind of get the idea of because this really isn't a tutorial about how to do that. What I wanted to show you is the elements that I use to do this very economically. Hopefully it gives you some ideas of how to do this stuff without having to fork out so much money for the processing equipment, because most of the stuff I had here was like a salad spinner, a sieve. Maybe it's definitely all under $100. Definitely, well under 100. I don't remember how much it paid, but I will leave links in the description for all that stuff. In the meantime, you guys know, if it's that time of year when you see this, that so if it's that time of year when you see this, we're about ready to start Tour de Fleece. We actually we'll be launching the Tour de Fleece for the Guild. And I will hopefully do a live on the 4th of July where we're doing a demonstration at Port Royal in Virginia. Maybe it'll be live. That'll a lot depend on how the people around me feel about that, because I can do a lot in editing. So I may just post a video of the launch. And with that, you'll see my red, white, and blue fleece that I'm going to work on. And I'm going to be using the blending board to do that. So Tour de Fleece, this is my launch for I'm going to be doing a lot of this alpaca, and I have a whole bunch of other fleeces that I have prepped and have coming in, and we'll be doing all sorts of things. So hopefully you'll join me in the spinning if you're a spinner. And I'm not putting together a team. Honestly, there's a big, huge team on Ravelry. So, or you can even join us at Fredericksburg Spinners and Weavers Guild group on Ravelry. You're welcome to do that too. I would say I would share links to that, but I'm terrible at Ravelry, y'all. Anyway, so hopefully this gave you some insight. I'm glad to be back on the channel again. We'll be doing a lot of fiber arts. I've got a book by a Bible binding coming up here soon. It has nothing to do with fiber. It's just the things I do. So hopefully this gave you some insight, and we shall catch you soon. Quite a bit soon, actually, because I've got all sorts of things coming online. But do yourself a favor, y'all. Go create something, okay? Yes, do it. Go create something. All right? Have a great one, okay?